Buongiorno, mi chiamo Charlotte e in questo video parlo della motivazione. Ho trovato un testo su un sito web che si chiama crescitapersonale.it, dove c'è una buona spiegazione di ciò che vuol dire la motivazione, e vediamo questo testo oggi. Hi everyone, my name is Charlotte and today we'll be looking at an explanation or a description, a definition of the word la motivazione, motivation in Italiano. So that comes from the website Crescita Personale, and crescita means growth, personale, personal growth. So let's have a look at that text. You must excuse me, I have had a bit of a sore throat, very sore throat actually, ho mal di gola da una settimana almeno. I've had that for at least a week, so excuse my croakiness. We're going to look at this explanation here. It's on 3 pages. This will be the first of maybe 2 or 3 videos, depending on how we get through it today. So members of my Italian club will receive a document with this text, a link to the original website. I've underlined on the document all the verbs in red and underlined are parts of the text that you need to match to their equivalent in English or Italian. Okay, so then there's also the conjugation of 3 verbs in the present tense. They're IRE verbs. The first one is consentire, to allow or to permit. And then we have ristabilire, which is to re-establish. And then the third one is agire, which is to act or to behave. Okay, so that's a bit like reagire, to react. And those 2 last ones, ristabilire and agire, if you look at them on, say, like a conjugation tool like wordreference.com, you'll see that they are conjugated in the same kind of way as finire. So the ending, for example, in the io form would be isco. For, say, agisco, agire, you take the stem ag and then you add isco instead of just an o. So it's conjugated in a slightly different way to other IRE verbs. Club members will also receive a link to this video tutorial, as well as 2 others, on this occasion 2 other further reading sites, one of which will give you opportunities to check out how IRE verbs are conjugated. The other link will take you to an Italian article on motivation. So let's have a little look at the content of the language here. I'll read it out and then I will give you some of the definitions. It's going to be quite a short video because I'm a little pushed for time, but if you have any comments, please feel free to put them under the video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, okay? As soon as I can. La spinta motivazionale ad agire entra in gioco quando l'organismo perde il proprio stato di equilibrio, balance, a causa di un bisogno che insorge. La spinta, so that spinta is like a push or a drive or a thrust, something that's pushing forward. La spinta motivazionale, so the motivational push, ad agire, to act. So sometimes you will see prepositions like, not just prepositions actually, but you'll see the preposition a changes to ad, so there's a d in there to enable the easy pronunciation of it and the word that follows. Ad agire instead of a agire. That's similar to a similar principle to when you say an apple in English instead of a apple. Adding an n to a makes it easier to pronounce and separate the words a or a and apple. An apple. La spinta motivazionale ad agire entra in gioco. Entrare means to enter or to come in. Okay, come into something. So to come comes into play, if you like. Gioco, play, game. Quando, when l'organismo, so that means the organism. It can mean a body or a being, if you like, something that's alive. Body is a good translation. Perdere is to lose. So motivation is the motivational push or the drive, the impetus to act that comes into play when the body loses il proprio, that's its own, stato di equilibrio, state of balance or equilibrium. A causa di, that means because of. A causa di, because of. Un bisogno. Bisognare. Now that's a verb I think we saw in either the last club video or the one before. That means to need. So un bisogno, a noun, is because of a need. A need. Che insorge. So I've underlined here the verbs, whether they're conjugated or whether they're in the infinitive forms. Insorge agrees with un bisogno, a need that arises. So sorgere is to rise, and insorgere is to arise, okay? To come about. Questa situazione porta ad agire sull'ambiente per ristabilire, I don't know if you can even see that, sorry, ristabilire l'ordine perduto. When I wrote this out, I was using a certain pen that didn't have as much ink as the pen I used on the second and third pages, so scusatemi, it might not be that easy to see, especially with the light changing as I move. So, questa situazione, this is like the word motivazione. Words that end with azione in Italian tend to be feminine, okay? This situation, porta ad agire. Porta ad agire. Now, somewhere I've got a nice little translation of that phrase. So it gets you to react, basically. It brings about the reaction. It leads to, okay, right, portare a. So it leads to acting. Agire, sometimes agire, like an infinitive verb, the whole are, ere, ire verb in Italian can either translate as to do something, to act, or it can be like the present participle, acting on. It leads to acting. So this motivational push, which changes, the motivational push, which the push to, or the drive to act. So motivation is the drive to act. It comes into play when the body loses its state of balance. Not physically necessarily balance, but something is missing from your body or your state of being because of a need that arises. So because you need something, the situation of needing something leads to acting on the environment, sull'ambiente, l'ambiente is the environment, per ristabilire, in order to re-establish, l'ordine perduto, so in order to re-establish or to bring about again the lost sense of order, the order that's been lost. So it's quite like dense, but actually it's full of lots of useful information here, useful structures. L'ordine perduto, perduto is the adjective that means lost, and it agrees with ordine. Ristabilire, there also exists the verb stabilire, which is to stabilize or to establish. Ristabilire is to re-establish. Excuse me. So the R and the I in front of a verb in Italian is the equivalent to the R and the E in front of a verb in English, to redo, to resend, to re-establish. I'm so sorry, like this is the first day that my throat isn't absolutely terrible. Pagina 2. So this is my page 2. Il comportamento motivato è quindi caratterizzato dalla mobilitazione delle risorse energetiche, fisiche e psichiche, dalla reiterizzazione degli sforzi fino al raggiungimento dell'obiettivo e dalla variabilità dei tentativi. So when you're listening to that or you're reading it, you might think, okay. So it's not actually as complex as it sounds, it's just lots of long words. Il comportamento, that's the way that you comport yourself, your behavior, the way that you act. Il comportamento motivato, motivated behavior, e quindi is therefore, quindi means therefore, or thus, caratterizzato, double T, double Z, characterized, dalla, by the, mobilitazione delle risorse energetiche, by the use of, or the mobilization of energetic resources. Okay, so you have to put your energy into something. If your behavior is motivated by something, which most behavior is, hunger, like it's motivated by necessity. There's a need, un bisogno. So motivated behavior is therefore characterized by the use of, or the mobilization of, energetic resources. So the body responds by putting its energy into something where there is a need for something. So these might be risorse energetiche fisiche, physical resources, physical behaviors, or psichiche, mental resources. So you have to put mental energy into something. You have to give your thought to something. You have to physically do something in order to respond to un bisogno, a need. So it's also characterized by putting your mental or physical resources towards something, achieving a goal, or by dalla reiterazione, so that means reiterating something, doing it again and again. So by the reiteration degli sforzi of the forces, sforzi, strengths, let me look at forces, sforzo. So if I'm not sure of something, I'll just go effort, work, exertion. Yeah, efforts is a good one. Force. Yeah, so there's lots of different ways that you can translate that, but the word I need is like effort or work, basically. So by the redoing of, or the reiteration, the repetition of work or efforts, fino al raggiungimento dell'obiettivo. Raggiungere, the verb, is to reach or to attain something. So il raggiungimento is like when you've attained something. Now let's just say raggiungimento. Yeah, achievement. Ecco. So fino a means until the achievement of, dell'obiettivo. Obiettivo is similar to objective, so the goal or the aim or the objective. So motivated behavior is therefore characterized by the use of energetic resources, a bit of an awkward translation, physical or mental resources, by the reiteration of effort, like by repeated efforts basically, until the achievement of the goal. And also dalla variabilità dei tentativi. Now, by dalla and dalla, no aspetta, dalla e dalla, that means by the something or other. As it happens, all of the nouns that follow the preposition da, all three of them happen to be feminine. Scusa, I keep saying that in English. reiterazione, reiteration. Mobilitazione, mobilization. Variabilità, variability. They all happen to be feminine singular nouns. So the preposition da, which precedes them, joins with or is combined with the article la. Da and la becomes dalla. I'm just going to check mobilitazione because it seems a little awkward to me. Mobilization. Mobilitazione. Mobilization. Deployment of. Okay, by the use of. So hence, da plus la becomes dalla with a double L. So that's just a combined preposition there. So characterized by, the reason we have this dalla, and dalla is because it's giving the three characteristics of motivated behavior. The use or mobilization of energetic resources, whether physical or mental, by the reiteration of efforts, like by the making efforts over and over until you have achieved your goal, and also by the variability of tentativi is attempts. So until you have, you're motivated to do something, and your motivated behavior is characterized by the attempts that you make, and they vary obviously until you've achieved your goal, or you continue to achieve your goal, whatever it is. I'm sorry I'm rushing, non c'è molto tempo. Pagina 3. Quando si parla di motivazione, si fa riferimento allo stato di tensione che si crea per il raggiungimento, we had that before, di un bisogno, we had that before, all'obiettivo, we had that before too, preposto, e al comportamento, we had that word too, strumentale che consente il soddisfacimento dell'individuo. I'm just going to check the translation of one word there. But which one is it though? It's preposto. Let's have a look. Okay, right, so when the main points here are, I want to point out the impersonal structures of these verbs. So when you have a third person singular or plural, but here it's singular, conjugation of a verb like si parla. Parla is from parlare, to speak. Di means about. But this is used impersonally. So when one speaks about, or when we speak about, or when you speak about, when speaking about, we're not applying a subject in a specific subject like you or my sister or me. We're talking about in general. When people talk about, when we talk about, in English we can say when we, when you, when one, etc. Quando si parla di motivazione, when one talks about, or when we talk about motivation, si fa riferimento, si fare riferimento a. So we refer to, we are referring to. So that's fare riferimento a. So that verb phrase is used in the third person singular and has si preceding it. So that shows you that it's impersonal. Okay, that little pronoun in front of the third person singular conjugation of a verb in any tense tells you that that's an impersonal structure. When we are talking about motivation, we refer to lo stato di tensione, the state of tension. Sometimes translating this literally word for word doesn't work that well in English, so you might have to tweak your translation, but let's just look at the actual words that are used. Lo stato, so that can mean like the state of your mind, or it could literally mean the state, like gli Stati Uniti. Lo is the article because it's a masculine noun, a singular noun that starts with an S and then, or like with a consonant, S plus consonant. Lo stato, the state of tension che si crea, so creare is to create, and it's got the C in front of it again. It's the third person singular, so it's an impersonal here. There's lots of impersonals here. There's 3. Si parla, si crea, what's the other one? Si fa riferimento a. When talking about motivation, we're referring to the state of tension that is created, that one creates, that people create, that we create, that you create. Okay? Per il raggiungimento, for the achievement of, achievement of, right? In order to reach the goal, right? So, achievement of a need, un bisogno, to the, oh, hang on, how can we accountable? I'm not sure quite how to, designated, maybe. Designated. Just seeing a word that kind of applies here. To the objective, the designated objective, or the goal in mind, or the specific goal, the goal in question. And the achievement of the goal in question, and to the strumentale. So strumentale is the adjective relating to uno strumento, an instrument, like it could be a musical instrument, or it could be something that is essential for something else, or necessary for something else. So when you talk about motivation, we're referring to the state of tension that is created, or that one creates, in order to achieve a need or a goal, to meet a goal, all'obiettivo proposto e al comportamento strumentale, to the designated or necessary goal, and to the instrumental behavior. Comportamento is like the way that you comport yourself, the behavior that's instrumental in doing such and such. Che consente, that allows, consentire is one of those IRE verbs, allows il soddisfacimento. Now that would be the fulfillment dell'individuo, of the individual. That was meaty, wasn't it? So, this is just the first part. If you go and have a look at the link that I'll post underneath, you can read the whole text in its entirety. Video 2 will be looking at some of the definitions of motivation. I'll leave it there, perché la bambina piange, but thank you very much e ci vediamo la prossima volta.